welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith. We are playing through Star Wars Imperial Assault Legends of the Alliance. This is Flight of the Freedom Fighter. And in this particular part, there's just one thing that I made, just one little minor movement here at the very end of the video there. I didn't bring the damage tokens that actually were associated with the Rebel Trooper, which we moved to this spot. At the very end of the last video, we could move our Rebel Troopers in a distance equal to their speed away. The game allowed us to do so, so I moved this Rebel Trooper from here to here, but I didn't bring his damage tokens with him because, of course, the Stormtrooper is not the one who's damaged. It's this guy right here. So this is the weakest Rebel Trooper I have. He's going to probably be the one that gets shot off first, but hopefully Fenn can take most of the damage. As you can see, I'm kind of escorting them through. The plan is to get the heroes back to this room and grab these crates, because I'm really hoping that, first off, we need health badly. So if there's some health in here, that's my chance to get them healed up. Right now I've got 15 damage over here, plus 3 is 18 damage on D, so she has a total of 22 she can take. So she's getting close to a bad situation for her where she could get wounded. If she gets wounded, the game isn't over. We have to let the app know. A number of things happen from there, but we can continue playing. The app will tell us basically if we lose. Of course, if both of our characters become wounded, then bad things happen. So Fenn over here isn't as bad a shape. He does have the exact same health, 22, but only has 16 damage on him. So that's why I positioned Fenn kind of closer up, kind of guarding D, so that she can, or that he can take most of the hits. The only thing is there's still an opening right here for an Imperial to actually move and land, and if they did that, they could still get close enough to D to make an attack. So she's not out of harm's way yet, but we'll start off from here. So we're beginning off. We get a choice as to who we want to activate first. As you can see, everything is ready for us, so nobody's activated yet. So actually what I'll do is I'll just bring this back into focus here so we can see the actual map itself. What do we want to do here? Well, this is where things get interesting. So again, just for clarification, in the last couple videos, usually the probe droid with the red on the bottom here has been the elite one. This is not an elite guy. So both these probe droids are just regular probe droids, so they're not as strong as normal. That means they're going to be attacking with a blue and 2 yellow die. Still pretty devastating at least, and the stormtroopers are not as threatening. But these guys are going to start, probably when they activate, they're going to start coming around this way. So that's where it gets dangerous, is we're going to start to get a little squeezed right at this point right here. So our strategy is to get these guys back over here as fast as possible out of line of sight. So it makes more sense for me to activate heroes first. I should probably activate D first, and I'm thinking that if I can activate her and get her back to this room right away to check these crates, then that gets her out of harm's way, and then most of whatever activates will go against Fenn and stuff like that, and later on we can move. So let's just try this. So if I was to activate D, she'd be movement of 4, so I could go 1, 2, 3, and 4 for 1. Then what I could do potentially is I could spend 1 strain to get an additional movement, which would put me adjacent to this particular box. From here, I could then use my second action to actually check this box and see what it is. It would place her here, which would be decent in terms of positioning. She'd be further back. The only downside is we wouldn't have done any attacks that round, but at least she'd be safe. So that might be the best option. Fenn, the reason I'm putting him in harm's way the most is he's got the black defense die, so he's better off to take damage, whereas D only has a white, and if I get her in trouble in this area, then I'm probably not going to be able to roll well enough to stop it. Although, just so you guys know, for those of you who don't have the game, the only dodge option is on the white die. So that's kind of where the white die isn't as bad, because there is no dodge option on the black die. So there is a plus there, that there's a 1 in 6 chance you could dodge the entire attack. So it's kind of a little bit of a balance of risk reward. So what we're going to do is I think I'll go to these boxes, because I want to get my heroes ready for what's likely to be a bigger fight. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to use a strain token on D in order to get an extra piece of movement, which will get her here, which is adjacent to this box. Now we're going to go ahead and click on the box on the app, and it says this crate of supplies was left behind in the rush to evacuate. Perhaps it contains something useful. A hero can interact with this crate to open it. I'm absolutely going to do that. You find some useful supplies in the crate. Draw 2 supply cards and you gain 25 credits. So that's pretty good. So we've got this supply deck right here. So let's go ahead and draw 2 supply cards. Oh, there we go. So emergency med pack. Discard this card after you rest. You or an adjacent friendly figure recovers 5. That's awesome. So D got exactly something that she needed. Let's see what we get next. What is this? Oh, there we go. Adrenal Stim. It's consumable medical. Discard this card during your activation to choose yourself or an adjacent friendly figure. Chosen figure recovers 3 strain and becomes focused. It's not bad. Cool. That's not bad at all. Those are 2 useful things for her. One will get her back on her feet a little bit quicker, and the other one's going to help her get focused and remove some strain. When maybe she gets up to 3, it'd be a good time to use that. So that actually wasn't bad. Again, sad we weren't able to actually make an attack, but hey. So we'll go ahead and take away this crate because we've now completed it. We'll hit continue, and that crate's disappeared. So now we've activated her, so we'll let the app know that she is now done and see what happens from here. So the gray stormtroopers are going to activate. That's going to be these guys down here. So my worst fears have come to light now. So it looks like these guys are going to be doing kind of a reverse pivot and coming back through to kind of basically cut us off on the side and flank us a bit. It's going to cause a little bit of issues here. They're obviously, we'll have to calculate how far of movement it will be for certain ones, but these 2 look like they'd be more useful to go around the back. We'll see what their activation does. So bonus-wise, it says after this group's activation, reinforce 1 defeated figure from this group as close as possible to another figure in this group. So the good thing is right now, this appears that these gray stormtroopers will just continue to reinforce no matter how much we kill them, at least in this particular round when they activate. The good thing is none of them are dead, so none of them are coming out. Bad news is they're all there, so we have to deal with them. So we'll go right from the top here. Let's do a quick check on the picture itself. So it says ignore the squad training ability on this group's card, and we got our surge priority right there. So the squad training is the only ability that's showing up on the card here. This says while adjacent another friendly trooper, you may reroll 1 attack die. Again, remember the rules for the app state that any wording in terms of you may is completely ignored. So you do not, so you can always reference the picture as I've done before, or you can just read the actual text, and if it ever says you might or you may or kind of wishy-washy, you don't use those particular abilities. So we'll go ahead here and find out what we activate or in terms of actions. So the first one is a move 3 to attack Fenn. So that's pretty straightforward. So really it's just about getting positioning. So we're going to have the first stormtrooper move 3 to attack Fenn. So if he's going to be trying to attack Fenn, which we'll activate him first, he's from here actually, I don't know if he has line of sight. Regardless, he's going to move 3 to get in position, so he can get very close. So we can go 1, 2, 3. Now the question is if he gets to here, can he actually get line of sight on Fenn? That's the question. I think he can. So from this corner right here to this corner is doable, and then from this corner to here, this is also doable, as it just kind of rubs against the side, but it's not blocked. So that's a legal shot, so he's able to make that. So he's going to take a shot against Fenn, sadly. So it says move 3 to attack, so we've done the move 3, and now we're going to attack Fenn. Fenn, of course, gets a black defense die. The stormtroopers, when they attack, get a blue and green, so we're going to roll the blue and green, see what happens. And we'll get their surge priority ready to go. So it looks like it's extra accuracy and a damage, which is probably, it might be useful for them. I'm hoping it doesn't happen though. So right now, inaccuracy 1, 2, 3 is what we need for the stormtrooper. We don't want to see that. Oh, so easily got the accuracy, but as you can see, Fenn did his job and blocked 3. So 3 of those have been completely washed away. And now we are going to take 1 damage. So that's really good. He did a good job there, so that's good. We're safe. That was a good roll from Fenn. It could have been really disastrous. So well done. Now he's going to get his second action, which of course isn't another attack. It'll be a move 2 to reposition 4. So again, we're going to move in order to be 4 away from this particular guy. So 1, 2, 3. So we might bring him back 1 step, let's say. So we'll put him here. All right. Going on to the next gray stormtrooper, because essentially this is a group, so we're activating the whole group. We'll take this guy here, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So we're going to move him to here. So his move 3, and again, exact same situation. He easily has line of sight on Fenn, so he'll be rolling the exact same attack. And what do we get here? We got a surge, an evade. Okay, so that's good. So that's going to be a block of the surge. We got enough accuracy to make it for the stormtrooper. So it's going to be 2 attack coming at Fenn, and it looks like he has no way to stop that. So it's 2 more damage on Fenn. So Fenn's getting a little bit beat up here, and it's actually getting into very risky territory because, oh no, he hasn't hit 5 yet. Okay, that's good. So he's up to 19. Yikes. Okay, it's getting dangerously close. He's really got to survive this round of activations so that he can get back. That's really the plan here. And then now we're going to reposition. So move 2 to reposition 4. 1, 2, 3 away. We're going to move like this, essentially. So now they're kind of like that. It's 4 away. Still has line of sight on him for later, which is nice. Actually, it's not nice. And then we're going to do the last Stormtrooper. So this guy here gets a movement of 3 to get in line of sight of him. So we're going to try this. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and he still can. So we can get to here. He'll make his attack. He's coming around. And remember, you can always, like, Imperials can always move through their own troops. It's only when you're, like, if you're a rebel and you're trying to move through another unit that's an enemy, then it costs an additional movement point, but you can freely move through your own troops. So these Stormtroopers are able to make way for their buddies, essentially, to come through. Oh my goodness. So easily got the accuracy. There's the block. So 2 damage on Finn. Geez, he's really getting up there. So we'll give him 1, and then I'll go like this and cash this in for a 5. Guys, we are 1 away from death on Fenn. That's insane. So he managed to stay alive and not get wounded, thank goodness. So we're okay. We're okay. And of course, he's going to reposition 4. So 1, 2, 3. Now, he can't technically reposition 4 at this point. He can't get 1 further back at all. So he's just going to stay where he is. So actually, what ends up happening is essentially if he can't move 2 to reposition 4, he'll move 6 to reposition 4. So he'll do 1, 2, 3. So it gives him all the movement he needs, really. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess he'd be kind of heading 1, 2, 3, 4. He'd be kind of heading through over here, basically, hiding around this corner. Now he's 4 away. Perfect. Okay. So we're all good there. We're going to go ahead and finish this up. Again, it says after the group's activation, reinforce if there's a defeated figure from the group. Didn't happen. Also, surges never occurred during this round because I was able to evade them or they just didn't roll them. So the Grey Stormtroopers are done. We're back, and Fenn is just barely surviving, which is insane that we did not get killed off there. So what are we going to do? We have to get Fenn out of there. Now, the really cool thing about this is that Fenn has the Havoc shot, and these guys are clumped up like crazy. So if I make a strategic Havoc shot here, I can put some serious damage on them. Now, it makes sense to really hit this major group here. So if I was to shoot this Stormtrooper here, the Havoc shot would then affect to 2 probe droids on either side and hit the Stormtroopers around him. So it'd make perfect sense to do this. So I'm going to absolutely, before I run, I'm going to use a strain token essentially to do a Havoc shot. Which is going to give me Blast 1, which we've talked about in previous videos. So Fenn here is going to take his infantry rifle, which is a green and blue die, and we're going to be shooting up against the Stormtrooper as our main target. He's got a black die, which is unfortunate, but at least we know that they can't evade it. That's the good thing about the Stormtroopers having the black die, is they can't get, there's no chance of them, not evading, but there's no chance of them dodging the entire attack. So that's a huge plus for us. Okay, let me just make doubly sure that I don't have anything else that can help me here. No, I do not. So we'll see how this works. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this, actually. I'm scared. Oh, okay. That's not bad. That works. We got the damage through, so the blast will actually happen. So we got 7 range, which is way more than enough range. We only need 1, 2, 3 to get that Stormtrooper, and whenever I say range again, I mean accuracy. But we got 3 hits. 1 is going to be blocked off, so we have 2 damage coming through against the Stormtrooper. Sadly, it's not enough to kill him because they need 3 hits to be able to be killed off. But the great thing is, if we put damage on an enemy, then the blast takes effect, and we get a damage on every single adjacent character, which is what I wanted. So all these guys now have a damage, making them just a little bit easier to kill later. So that was perfect. Next up, we're going to do a little bit of movement and get ourselves out of here so that the Rebel Troopers become the main target of things. I hope, unless of course some of these guys start coming through the center and weeding their way through to us. So Fenn's got a speed of 4. I do have some strain tokens in order to push him harder to get him to move further. So 4 would get me 1, 2, 3, 4. At this point, that would still be quite dangerous. I could probably get another one here to get Fenn back here, which is probably what I would do, because I'm a little bit scared that these guys could get to him. So I'm going to probably go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then from here, let's see, his normal movement next turn would be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't know if it's worth spending the extra strain. I kind of don't want to, because I want to be able to keep it for when these guys start closing in for Havoc shots. That's the thing. This is where the tactics come in. It's like, do you use it now to get further away to protect Fenn, or are you going to keep it because the Havoc shot's a great ability later on? So tough. But to be totally honest, I know that these guys can get some pretty good range. they can't shoot through figures, so I've done a good job blocking things up with my rebel troopers. So I think I should be okay. I'm gonna cross my fingers, but the worst part about it is we know this rebel trooper here is gonna probably die, which means the only line of defense is gonna be this one rebel trooper sitting in front of him, which is not the greatest. So I'd really have to be burning a lot of strain to get behind this other one. I don't think it's worth it. So I'm going to sit there, and I also don't think we're going to have to worry about anyone coming along this way, because it seems like based on the quick shots that these guys activated before, they're already done, and they're going to sit here. Most of these guys will come down the tunnel in the center. So we should be all right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and say that Fenn's turn is done. Now let me just double check something quick. Sadly, we didn't get that lone wolf thing, because at the end of the activation, if there's no one adjacent to you, you recover a strain. I just can't make that work. Based on my strategy right now, it's not going to happen, so we've got to kind of just go with that. So we're ending Fenn's turn. So the purple probe droid is actually the red probe droid, just so there's no confusion there. I didn't have an actual purple token, but basically this guy sits right here. So we're going to go through the activation instructions for this guy right now. So this could be bad. It shows right here in the bonus section that it has a self-destruct on 0, which means it doesn't even need to take any damage whatsoever. It's just going to blow up at the end of its turn. It says at the end of its activation, if the figure is adjacent to a rebel, roll a red die. Each adjacent rebel suffers damage equal to... We're familiar with this from other videos. The nastiness with this one is that it doesn't need like any damage on it at all. It'll just do it this turn. So I'm really scared here because Fenn is actually, there is a chance that this thing could whittle its way through and get adjacent to Fenn. If it did so, that damage could kill it, especially if it's rolling a red die. There is no side of the red die that essentially doesn't have damage on it. The least is 1. So that's all it needs basically to kill Fenn off. So I'm really hoping that in terms of the movement here that it won't get close enough to Fenn to do that. My rebel troopers are probably in trouble here, but hopefully with my plan and how I've laid this out, I should be able to survive. We'll see how this pans out. So the first thing we're going to do is go through the activation instructions. So the first one is move 2 to attack D. Now D is way in the back here, so heading totally the opposite direction. So this thing would need to move 2 and then have line of sight to be able to actually attack for it to even resolve this instruction. So if we were to take this particular unit and move it to here, which is probably the most logical line of sight we could draw, hypothetically, if it was in this location right here, it'd be drawing a line of sight from one of the corners to basically get to D. But as you can see, it crosses across multiple lines. Now, there's no way that it can draw. Sorry, you'd pick one. I'm doing it backwards here. You pick one corner on their side and try to hit 2 corners on D's side. And as you can see, it's not even feasibly possible because you're going through figures on this one. On this side, exact same thing. If you want to pick two corners, you're cutting through rebels everywhere. So the gunshots wouldn't make it through. So this is one of the very first times where an attack instruction, maybe not the first time, but one of the biggest long distance shots where it's not going to be able to resolve this activation. Typically the actions to attack usually work, but because my strategic plan was to get D as far away as possible, this particular instruction won't happen. So it's going to be skipping this one. So it'll move on to move 2 to engage as many rebels as possible, but a minimum of 1. So in other words, it can move 2 to get it to close to as many rebels as possible. Sadly, I'm just too far away because if I move 2 here, I'm still not next to anybody. So the instruction says I have to be move 2 and be next to at least 1 rebel, at least 1. And I really wish this guy had been closer because he would have been perfect fodder for this particular action to get rid of one of the instructions that this probe droid has to do. Plus it would blow up probably, and then I would have safety up here. But because it can't make it, it's going to skip this instruction as well, which is just as terrible. It also says here, if adjacent to a rebel and the activation, which of course would then initiate its self-destruct, which is what I just mentioned. But it's not going to do this, so it's going to continue moving on because we're trying to find instructions it can actually perform. The next one says move 2 to reposition 3. So how this one works is you get an allowance of 2 movement to get within 3 of that particular character you're trying to get to. Now in this case, the probe droid's not trying to get away. Typically repositions happen after you make an attack, which is why they're later in the instruction order. In this case, we're using reposition to get this probe droid closer to the rebel trooper, but I can only move 2 and I have to stop as soon as I get within 3. So essentially the rebel trooper is here, so 3 away. If I was to move this droid to the next spot right here, then I've moved 1 and I got 1 and now I'm within 3. So now I immediately stop because now I'm repositioning to be within 3 of that rebel trooper. So that instruction actually did count as an action. Then we go to the next one below it, which says move forward to engage as many rebels as possible, minimum 1. This is where things get really dangerous. So this is another action that's going to happen and can happen. The question is, will it hit Fenn? And this is where it gets dangerous. So we've got this Imperial probe droid here. It'll be going 1, 2, 3, and 4. So actually, we're just safe by literally 1 space. If we had one more space of movement, it would have been up next to Fenn, and that would have been really bad. So basically, this probe droid is going to pretty much go right in between and sit between the 2 troopers like that, which is bad because this is going to likely blow up and hurt a large majority of them. That's 2 actions for it. So at this point now, the self-destruct will initiate, which means we're going to roll a red die. This is not something I can block. This is just a self-destruct. It's against my rebel troopers, and oh my gosh, that is straight up punishment. So this rebel trooper just got blown away. This one just got blown away. We've lost 2 units in a single explosion, and that is not good. The defenses are starting to fall apart, but we did essentially blow that particular guy up. So we'll come over to the app really quick, and we're gonna go finish, and then we're gonna have to go to the purple probe droid because this one technically blew up. So this has been defeated. We got some fame for that. I don't know what to say about what kind of fame you get for having your guys get blown up in an explosion, but we definitely took that one out. So at least now things are thinned out a bit better. So at this point we only have 1 rebel trooper left, but we managed to survive that attack. Or I should say our heroes managed to survive that attack. Our rebel troopers did not do so well. Okay, so next up, we're going to try to... Now, we're at a full activation again. So I still have my Rebel Troopers to activate, and I still have Fenn, and I still have D. So this is where it gets sketchy. So as of right now, the only ones who haven't activated from the Imperial side would be the officers, this particular Stormtrooper group here, and this probe droid. So any number of these guys could activate next. That's where it gets crazy. If it's the Stormtroopers, they're going to be making long shots at us. Fenn's not in a spot to be taking any damage whatsoever, and really neither is D. So this is where things get interesting. Really interesting. Oh, shoot. I need to get these guys out of here. The worst part about this is that if I activate one of the 2 heroes to go for a crate, well, let me see. Well, D says your emergency. It says when you actually D's one says discard this card after you rest in order to you or an adjacent friendly figure recovers 5. So that's terrible. Because like I really need this on Fenn really badly. And D can kind of stay in the background for now. And maybe go after the other one. I don't know. Or maybe I have Fenn go for the other one right now and put D in harm's way. D right now has 15, 16, 17, 18. Actually, you know what? D can handle more hits right now than Fenn can. So maybe Fenn needs to just activate now. So yeah, let's activate Fenn. We're going to get his movement going. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And technically, I'll put him 4 because I want him to be like. Actually, I can put him here, which is even better. So he's even more hidden off the side, and you can actually be on top of the thing itself. So he's got 4 speed now. His second one's going to be check this box. So we'll click on it and see if we get something good. And you gain 2 med packs. You find some useful supplies in the crate. You gain 2 med packs. Awesome. So there's 2 med packs have been added right here, which is fantastic. So what we're going to do now is the med packs have to be used on a rest. And the crazy thing is I've used all of my actions basically to get as far away and to activate that this box as much as I could. So I don't have any more actions to spend on a rest, so I can't do it yet, but at least I'm hidden in the room for now. Hopefully out of line of sight, I hope. But probably not. Probably not far enough back as I should be. So the next thing I can do is actually activate my Lone Wolf, which is basically at the end of the activation, not next to any friendly figures, so I recover 1 strain, so that's good for my Havoc shot later if I manage to survive this. And now his turn is done, so I'm going to go ahead and end Fenn's activation. Next, oh thank goodness it's the Imperial officers and not the Stormtroopers. Okay, so the Imperial officers are going to go. The first Imperial attack gains 1 surge, so we got to remember that. Order activation says another Imperial figure with a cost of 3 or less that can perform an attack attacks Fenn. Oh, classic. 3 or less, eh? So 3 or less is going to be the probe droid or the Imperial officer. It doesn't make any sense for him to order the other Imperial officer to make an attack. He's too far away, so he's going to be ordering the probe droid, which is right here, to try. Whether or not this can happen, I don't know. Now it says order another figure that can perform an attack, attacks Fenn. Actually, you know what? And there's no movement. There's no movement there. That order is not going to do anything. Oh, and something else to remember too with this guy is at the bottom here has cower. If adjacent to another Imperial figure, recover 2 damage. He is adjacent right now. This blue one is adjacent to another friendly figure, but has no damage, so that won't take any effect. If I click on his card in terms of what he does, ignore the order and cower abilities on this group's card. Okay, but the cower ability shows up differently here than how it's actually referenced on the card, so that's why it's telling you to ignore it here. So what's it's going to do here, it's going to another Imperial figure. So yeah, it's going to try to tell the probe droid to make an attack, but it can't do it. It's not possible because I've got guys blocking Fenn. So even if he moves 2 and gets here, which he could, movement wise he could get there, but the thing is he's not going to be able to shoot through, so that order is not going to happen. The next one says if this figure did not use the order, which it didn't, then move 3 to attack Fenn. So same situation. This guy here, he can't move 3 to attack Fenn. It's not possible. I could go 1, 2, 3, no line of sight. 1, 2, 3. And again, he has to move through difficult terrain, or at least here is not difficult. He could go 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. He's not going to be able to get to any corner or any type of situation to attack Fenn. So that's also ignored. Then it says move 3 to engage the other Imperial figure with the most health remaining. Okay. So the one with the most health remaining is technically these Imperial officers have 3 health, so that's good to note. Stormtroopers have 3 health. Probe droid has 5 health. So he's actually going to be heading towards the probe droid because it has the most health. Even though it has 1 damage on it, it's going to be technically 4, which is higher than any other unit on the field right now. So he's going to move 3 to try to get close to this unit. So he'll go 1, 2, 3. So basically he's on his way, essentially, to get close to this guy to beef him up or to help command him. So that one action is spent. The next one says if this figure is not adjacent to another Imperial figure, move 4 to reposition 5. Interesting. So at this particular case, I think he's going to try to get close to another Imperial figure. I think that's what would make the most sense. So he's going to try to get closer. So I think he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. I don't think he put himself in harm's way. I think he would run all the way over and be right here. I think he'd want to be right up next to the rest of these guys to kind of help them. This damage, by the way, is for the probe droid. So I'm going to have to find some creative way of keeping this here because it's probably going to fall or something, but we'll lay it on him like that. All right, so that's it, and we're good. We're going to finish him off. It's probably going to activate the other Imperial officer. Oh, it didn't. Okay, that's interesting. So it did not. We're back, and we're still alive, so that's a plus. D, we can activate D now or the Rebel Troopers. I'm not going to bother activating the Rebel Trooper. I'll keep him there as a guard. D is going to... What are we going to have D do? D's got to heal. So let's figure this out. Let's rest. So the first thing we're going to do is rest, which means we can discard all of our strain tokens. We're also going to go ahead and discard this card after you rest. You or an adjacent friendly figure recovers 5. So this is going to be 5 health disappearing off of D, so she's a little bit more ready to handle things. So this card is discarded. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to probably use a... Should I use a med pack? She right now has 10, 11, 12, 13... No, I need to use it on Fenn. Both the med packs need to be put on Fenn, I think. So I'll leave her like that. She's done well. What does this other one say? Adrenaline Stim. Discard this card during your activation to choose yourself or a friendly adjacent figure. The chosen figure recovers 3 strain and becomes focused. Okay, so what I could do is I could move. I could use an activation to move. Maybe go like this, which would help me keep Fenn safe by blocking the line of sight. I'm thinking that would be wise. Or maybe I put myself here. Yeah. Yeah. I'll put myself here, I think. So that's a move. It's the end of my turn. I'm going to use my Adrenaline Stim now. Discard this card. During your activation to choose yourself or a friendly adjacent figure. The chosen figure recovers 3 and becomes focused. So now we're going to take the all this off of Fenn. So now he's got a little bit more... I don't know if that was the best time to use that, but hey, he becomes focused, so that's not a bad thing. Let's take a quick look at the focus card. I kind of forget what this does again. When you declare an attack or attribute test, add a green die. Nice. So that's going to be good for him later on when he makes an attack. So that'll be handy. Maybe his first one in a while. But that's it. Now we're all good. So we're going to end D's activation. And the purple Imperial officer is going to try to go. So again, we got another order, another Imperial figure with a figure cost of 3 or less. This is very similar, so it's going to be this guy way up here. He's going to try to do similar things, although it looks like his movement's going to be a little bit more skewed because he's in difficult terrain area. So it says, another Imperial figure with a cost of 3 or less can perform an attack. Rebel who suffered the most damage. Okay, so who suffered the most damage is not the Rebel Trooper. He would be targeting essentially he'd be going after Fenn. There's no way in heck he can get close enough to Fenn, or sorry, he's ordering another unit to do this. It could be it would be the probe droid, from what I can see, or it can't even be, no, it could be the Imperial officer too. You can actually tell the Imperial officer to do it. So if he orders the Imperial officer, no, there's no way, I don't think. No, there's no way to get a line, like no matter what these guys do in terms of moving into this area here, none of these would be able to get through distance-wise to Fenn. So he's completely safe. I'm not gonna bother trying to look that up because it's impossible based on my guys being there. It says if this figure did not use the order, move 3 to attack the rebel who suffered the most damage. Again, that's not gonna be done because too far away from the action. Move 1 to attack the rebel who suffered the most damage. Again, that's not gonna happen. Move 3 to engage another Imperial figure with the most health remaining. So again, he's going to try to get close. So he's going to go 1, 2 to get through difficult terrain, and then another 1 to get out of it. So that's one action done. The other one says if this figure is not adjacent to another Imperial figure, move 4 to reposition 5. Okay, so let's see here. It's going to move 4 to reposition 5. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 1, 2, 3, and then that would put him in reposition 5. Yeah, so I'll put him like here, I think. Put him in that corner. And now that I think about it, this guy here in the last one did the same thing like that. He did a move 4, 2, 3. I don't know where he was exactly. I think he had a move 6 or something crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he had a move 6, and he was here to reposition 5, I think, as well. I don't know if he would have moved here, but maybe he would have. Because when you get the reposition keyword, it's essentially where you essentially stop. It basically says when moving, you're trying to get a specific distance from rebel figures, but in this case with the Imperial officer, he's trying to get closer to his own group to do orders. So I think this is okay. You guys can let me know whether or not this guy probably should have been somewhere else, located somewhere else, but I think this one's correct. He's within 5 of those guys, so I think that's fine. And essentially we're done. So we're going to finish off that purple Imperial officer, and we're back. We only have the rebel troopers left to activate. So this is interesting. It's kind of like, do I bother running up there and killing one of the rebel troopers off? I don't know if that's worth it. We have the stormtroopers here and the regular gray probe droid to activate next. So it's going to be this group here that's going to go. So this rebel trooper is likely going to get beat up pretty badly. So it might be worth it to fall back. Maybe 1, like have him come back here and just sit there to provide cover for the heroes, basically just covering things. So let me think, can I make a shot? I guess is the question. Oh, I can make that shot. Yeah, I can make an attempted shot at that Imperial officer, so let's do it. Let's try to take a shot at this guy here. So I've got the rebel trooper. He's got a blue and a yellow. Let's do an attempt to see if I can make this happen. It's shooting the red one. He's got a white die. Don't know if this is going to happen, but it's worth a shot. Oh, we got 7 range. Nice. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got it. 2 damage and nothing on the defense. So that's 2 hits. So a good shot from the rebel trooper from distance. Nice. Not enough to kill him. We need 1 more, but hey, that's not bad. And then he'll reposition. He'll just kind of move with his other one, back 1, just to kind of clump up and be the first target of attack if these guys happen to activate, to hopefully save anybody from dying. And still, Fenn is my weakest character here, and I'm very scared that he's going to take a damage. He needs to I need to get him activated soon so he can actually rest and start using these med packs is the plan. All right, guys, well, that's probably where I'm going to stop it. I think this is a perfect time. I will end off the Rebel Troopers activation because they are done. And of course, it's going to activate somebody new. But I think this is where we're going to stop. So thanks again for watching. We're going to pick it up right here in the next video and see what happens. As of right now, there's a massive swarm of Imperials. We are really thinned out, and we've kind of been forced back inside the Rebel base, and hopefully we can survive long enough here to make it through this mission. Thanks again for watching. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything, and I'll see you in the next episode. Keep on rolling solo.